Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, Committee. My name is Angela Mwemba, Chief Internal Auditor, KAPIRI MPONSHI Town Council.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, honorable members. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kuzanga Nonde, Director Planning, KAPIRI MPONSHI Town Council. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, Committee. My name is Chikwe Benson Boa, Chief Accountant for KAPIRI MPONSHI Town Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, and good afternoon, Committee. Nyambe Mildred Monde, Director Finance for KAPIRI Town Council.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, Committee. I'm Collins Ndilema, Town Clerk for Luansha Municipal Council, immediate past the Council Secretary for KAPIRI MPONSHI. Thank you.
Thank you and welcome.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, Committee. Engineer Msonda Christie, Director Engineering Services, KAPIRI Town Council.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, Committee. My name is Katongola Nkumbu, Director Engineering for Nchelenge Town Council, the ex-Director Engineering for KAPIRI Town Council. Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, Committee. I'm Sandra Kasonde, Senior Procurement and Supplies Officer, KAPIRI MPONSHI Town Council.
Thank you. Our permanent witnesses.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, honorable members. Good afternoon. My name is Barnabas Chindima, Senior Monitoring and Evaluation Officer at the Local Government Service Commission. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, honorable members of the committee. KAPIRI Town Council, good afternoon, and you're welcome. My name is Joyce Kuvansa from Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, Committee. KAPIRI Town Council. My name is Joseph Tanda, Senior Accountant from Accounting Office.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, honorable members. I'm Patrick Sembela from Ministry of Finance, representing the Office of the Controller of Internal Audit. Thank you.
Honorable Member for Sebunga. Before you can continue, I just wanted to take your attention. We have AG's office.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, honorable members of the committee. KAPIRI Council, you are welcome and good afternoon. My name is Progress Ngogo, the Principal Auditor, Auditor General's Office, representing Director, Central Province. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon. My name is Simon Munyama. I'm from the Planning and Research Department, Office of the Auditor General.
Thank you. Honorable Member for Mangango. Let's have our Secretariat.
Thank you so much for the privilege, and good afternoon to you and other honorable members. Our witness, good afternoon. I am Chirimbo Elijah from the Office of the Clerk of National Assembly. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. I think the honorable member for Mangango.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon, KAPIRI Town Council. Our permanent witnesses, good afternoon, viewers and the listeners. Good afternoon to you too. I'm Mwene Luhamba, Member of Parliament for Mangango. Thank you.
Thank you. Siabonga.
Thank you, Jessica.
Good afternoon, Chairperson. Good afternoon, KAPIRI MPONSHI Town Council. Good afternoon, Jessica and team. My name is Murinda Darius, Member of Parliament for Siavonga constituency and a member of this committee.
Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon to you and our permanent witness. Welcome to your committee and Mandevu constituency, Kapiri Town Council, where I am privileged to represent the good people of Mandevu as their Member of Parliament. Christopher Shakafuswa is my name. I deputize the Chair. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And I'm Mishek Mtetwa Nyambose. I represent the wonderful and good people of Chasefu constituency in Eastern Province of Zambia, and I'm privileged to chair your committee, this committee. With that said, I want to say once again, Council Secretary, you can take us through your memorandum.
Thank you very much, Chair. Before I take the House through the memorandum, I would like to mention, Chair, that I have an addendum which I'm requesting this Honourable House to admit, and also a few corrections to make.
No problem, you can go ahead.
The addendum, you can.
You have enough copies?
Yes, Chair.
Okay.
On page 3, Chair, of my memorandum, Appendix 1.1, on action taken. Share my action taken reads, we engage the Ministry on the matter concerning the procurement of the motorbikes, and what follows should be deleted and replaced by the following. Immediately after "and," the 3 motorbikes have been procured and 1 delivered for Chief Nkole, while the other 2 have been retained at the Ministry because of vacancies in the 2 chiefdoms dash Chief Chipepo and MPONSHI. On page 4, Chair, on Appendix 2.1, Chair, I'm amending the entire response by withdrawing that response and replacing it with the response under item 1 on my addendum.
Come again.
On Appendix 2.1, Chair, the entire management response is being withdrawn and replaced with what is contained in the addendum under item 1.
Just a minute, we check. So, the whole page. So the addendum is speaking to this particular query?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, so when we reach this stage, we shall refer to the addendum?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, perfect. We can, any other corrections?
Page 8, Chair. On remedial measure, reads enhanced financial literacy trainings and verification of, instead of accounting details, it should be bank account details. So accounting should be replaced with bank account. Then, Chair, in the same vein, Appendix 2.5 on the same page, management response is withdrawn and replaced with what is contained in the addendum under item 2.
So when we reach to these pages, be kind to guide us.
Yes, Chair.
To go to the addendum.
Much obliged, Chair.
Okay.
On page 11, Chair, on action taken, B, that response, Chair, is referring us to a table. The space that has remained there should have had a table. Now that table is provided separately as a standalone table, Chair.
You see the addendum?
No, it is standing on its own.
Where is it? Is it the table on page 13?
No, Chair, it's standing on its own. Just avail it to. Just like it. Page 6. Appendix read the appendix and is on cause of the query, the last line, right, saying bursaries, because the beneficiaries should indicate where.
Come again? Beneficiaries were
graduating at different times instead of is.
It is where it is
Yeah.
Okay. Are you done?
Yes, Chair.
Then you can read your addendum.
Thank you very much, Chair. Item number 1, Chair, is failure to account for funds 796,340 kwacha 16 way. Cause of the query, Chair, we have noted the audit was due to non-availability of supporting documents. Queried transactions at the time of audit. The said transaction is suspected to have been fraudulently processed. Action taken. The matters relating to unaccounted for funds amounting to 796,340 kwacha have since been reported to law enforcing agencies for investigation and possible prosecution. Suspected officers to have been involved in the alleged scam have been put on suspension pending the outcome of the investigation. Stricter and local authority accounting financial money and taking punitive official found wanting. Also, Chair, the council for internet. Appendix 1, budget and the 842. Cause of the query, the auditors observed the variance amounting to such a Chair, a letter of funds from Ministry and the Council as indicated by the table below, Chair. Major. Also, Chair, Appendix 2 is speaking to this issue. In remedial measure, the Council will continue to engage the Ministry for timely disbursement of funds. Appendix 1.1, retained funds, 2,775,000. Acknowledge to state that the retained funds were held by Ministry for the procurement of the district ambulance and motorbikes for the chief retainers as indicated below. Action taken, Chair, we engaged the Ministry on the matter concerning the procurement of the motorbikes, and the 3 motorbikes have been procured and 1 delivered for Chief Nkole, while the other 2 have been retained at the Ministry because of vacancies in the 2 chiefdoms, that is Chief Chipepo and Chief Nkole. Appendix 3, Chair, is speaking to this issue. Appendix 2.1, Chair, total unspent funds, community projects, 2,005,678. Chair, at this point, I'm taking you to item 1 on our addendum, as where our response is. Cause of query, Chair, we have noted the auditor's observation. I wish to report that the over-expenditure was due to the suspected fraudulent transactions. The suspected fraudulent transactions are still under investigation. Action taken. Oh, 2.5. Oh, Chair. Sorry, Chair, I'd gone to 2 instead of 1. Total unspent funds, community projects, Appendix 2.1. Cause of query, Chair, the funds were spent progressively as projects were being implemented. Action taken, we have progressively spent the funds as shown in the table below. Appendix, Chair, Appendix 4 attached to this addendum speaks to this issue. Remedial measure, strict adherence to CDF guidelines, Public Finance Management Act and ministerial circulars, and ensure that funds are spent on programs and projects within the year of funding. Chair, the next one is 2.2, total unspent funds, empowerment grant. Is duly noted. This was due to submission of wrong bank details by the club, which resulted in non-processing of payment on time. The clubs further delayed the renewal of registration certificates, which affected the upgrading of bank details. Action taken, Chair. The beneficiaries have since been paid in full as per table below. Appendix 5, Chair, speaks this issue. Remedial measure, enhanced financial redress, verification of bank account, to have avoid delays in processing of payments associated with wrong bank details once was approved. Chair, Appendix 2.3, total unspent funds, secondary boarding. Delay and the of action taken, Chair. Unspent funds have been spent as indicated. 6 Chair is speaking to this issue. Remedial measure securing in and in adherence to the CDF guidelines. Appendix 2.4, total unspent funds, loans, 399,235 kwacha. Cause of the query, Chair, management has noted the auditor's observation and wish to state that the unspent funds of 6% on loans is due to the fact that 4 beneficiaries failed to provide valid bank details, and the same funds were, some funds were valid to community project component. Action taken, Chair. The beneficiaries were formally requested to provide required details. 3 provided and were paid as indicated in the table below. Also, Appendix 7, Chair is speaking to this issue. Remedial measure, enhanced financial literacy trainings and verification of bank account details during a technical desk appraisal instead of waiting until approvals are done. Chair, Appendix 2.5, I wish to take the committee to the addendum. And item 2. We have noted the auditor's observation and wish to report that the over-expenditure was due to the suspected fraudulent transaction. The suspected fraudulent transaction are still under investigations. Action taken, we have reported the suspected fraudulent transaction to the law enforcement agencies for investigations and possible prosecution. Appendix 1 attached to the memorandum speaks to this issue, Chair. Remedial measure, strict adherence to CDF guidelines, Public Finance Management Act and ministerial circulars. Further appropriate punitive actions shall be taken against anyone found wanting. Chair, Appendix 3, community projects. Cause of query, the auditor's observation are duly noted. The delay in implementation of community projects allows to non-response by bidders and some administrative hiccups experienced during the period under review. Action taken, we have since sensitized and trained contractors in the management of the EGP system. The projects which were under implementation and outstanding projects have been and are being implemented at various stages as indicated in the table below. The standalone table, Chair, is what I'm referring to here. Make some changes in personnel in some key positions in the council. Made some changes in personnel in some key positions in the council establishment with the help of the Local Government Service Commission to enhance project and contract management generally. The Council has since requested the Commission to fill the key position of quantity surveyor to ensure quality and swift production of BOQs. Appendix 8, Chair is speaking to this issue. Remedial measure. The Council will continue sensitizing and training contractors on the use of VGP, project management and contract management. We will strictly adhere to Public Procurement Act, the Public Finance Management Act, CDF guidelines, and other non-legislative instruments from higher authorities. Timely take corrective and in some cases punitive actions against non-performing contractors and officers. Chair, Appendix 3.1, Analysis of Performance of Desks and Delivered Desks, 1,164. Cause of query, Chair. The auditor's observations are noted. However, the Council is unable to verify the auditor's findings because of lack of information, as the documents containing such information were seized by law enforcement agencies investigating the alleged thefts under the attached seizure notices. We wrote to the Permanent Secretary, Central Province, who constituted the investigative team, to allow us have access to the seized documents in order for us to respond to audit queries effectively, and we are still waiting for the response. Action taken. The contracts for non-performing suppliers were terminated, procurement processes recommenced, and new contracts were awarded to suppliers for the remaining desks, and have since delivered the desks as indicated in the table below. Appendix 9 speaks to this issue, Chair. Remedial measure. Strict adherence to the Public Procurement Act and the regulation made thereunder, and circulars issued by ZPPA. Retrieval of seized documents from the law enforcement agencies. Chair, Appendix 6, Youth Women Empowerment Grant Performance Analysis. Cause of query. The discrepancy between the number of applicants, which is 221, against the number of approved beneficiaries, which is 101, is that the allocation is dependent on the funds available. Then the expenditure is bank details submitted by the clubs, which delayed processing of payment, resulting in under expenditure of 120,888 kwacha. Further delayed renewal of registration certificates affected the upgrading of bank details. Appendix 6, Chair speaks to this issue. Action taken. The beneficiaries have since been paid in full as per table below. Measure. Enhanced financial literacy trainings and verification of accounting, bank accounting details where advanced technical desk appraisal. Chair, Appendix 7.2, 1,708 kwacha. And failure by the bank engaged to make full recoveries in line with guidance from Secretary to the Treasury contained in the Treasury and Financial Management Circular number 15 of 2022 dated 22 October 2022. Action taken. The following actions were taken. That is sensitization of the loan beneficiaries on the importance of meeting their loan obligations, issuance of demand notices, and reminding the bank to recover the money in full as guided by Secretary to the Treasury under Clause 4.7 of Treasury and Finance Management Circular number 15 of 2022, dated 27 October 2022. Appendix 11, Chair speaks to this issue. Remedial measure, continuous sensitization of the loan beneficiaries on the importance of meeting the loan obligations and review of the performance of the loan facility regularly. Taking legal action against defaulting beneficiaries as a last resort. Chair, Appendix 8, bursaries performance analysis. Cause of query, we note the observation by the auditor. We wish to observe that the difference between the number of sponsored and that of graduates in both skills development and secondary boarding bursaries because the beneficiaries were graduating at different times. Action taken, Chair. Management has done a review and the table below shows the current status. Appendix 12, Chair speaks to this issue. Remedial measure, regular reviews and generation of status reports to maintain an updated, reconciled position. Appendix 9, Chair, unaccounted for stores, 228,405 kwacha. Cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's finding and wish to state that the documents pertaining to the same have been seized by the investigative wings. Appendix 13, Chair speaks to this issue. Taken, we wrote to the investigative team to allow us to have access to the said documents in order for us to respond to audit queries effectively, and we are still waiting for response. 13, Chair speaks. Remedial measure, make follow-up with the Permanent Secretary's office to secure documents from law enforcing agents and stay compliant with the relevant available laws, finance manuals, CDF guidelines and circulars. I beg to submit, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Vice.
Thank you so much, Chair. I will take you to page 8 and 9.
Let's go to page 8 and 9.
Where the of
796, 340. That's the
Auditor General's seems to be with the investigative wing. Would you be kind enough to tell the committee what sort of transactions these were? Because I want to know whether these are administrative matters or they were procurement issues relating to especially community projects. Perhaps may I ask that the town clerk, the council secretary who was there, maybe takes the seat to respond to this.
yes, we allow the council secretary who was there to help us with these responses. Vice Chair, your mic.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you so much, Honorable Member of Parliament. Yes, I can confirm that the matter that was picked by investigating wing
were CDF administrative account. Basically, when the matter was reported, it was in the sector grant. So after the investigation, the team extended the investigation to the CDF account, and they found that the administrative component was actually tempered with the amount over 750,000 kwacha. I submit, Chair.
So, Honorable Mulunda, just a follow-up, Chairperson. In the submission by our council, Kapiri Town Council, I've seen two revenue collectors under the same. Are you implying that even revenue collectors had access to this account? Thank you, Chairperson.
You can respond.
Well, thank you very much, Chair. There was shortage of manpower in the accounts department, and therefore those revenue collectors who were assigned to do duties in accounts in the voucher processing, their positions were revenue collector, but they were assigned on administrative convenience to operate in the accounts department. I submit.
Vice Chair.
Yes, Chair. Were these officers signatories to the administrative account?
No, Chair.
So what are you telling this committee? Someone who prepares a voucher can be found wanting. We want to see our internal audit system. Do we have an internal auditor?
Yes, Chair.
We want to hear from the internal auditor and those who were signatories to these accounts. Because someone who prepares vouchers, it doesn't sign the checks, it doesn't sign the bank authorities.
Thank you very much, Chair. Indeed, you are right. The officer were preparing the vouchers, but there were senior officers who were signatories to these accounts, who were signing these purported transactions.
Do we have them here?
No, Chair.
Where are they?
The director planning has been suspended. The two CDF chairmen were also removed from the committee and replaced, and also the other officers from the devolved functions who were also as signatories as per the requirement have been also suspended.
Thank you. Vice Chair.
Is the auditor who is in your company, was he part of the team that passed these payments?
No, Chair.
Where is the internal auditor who was sanctioning these payments?
The auditor who was sanctioning, he's not with us. He's at the office. He was not included on the team, Chair.
What actions have you taken against this auditor who was colluding with others? Okay.
Sorry, Chair. Why have you left this audit? You know that when you are coming here, the auditor is supposed to be part of this team, and you know that you have this query where this auditor was supposed to speak to this query. Why did you leave this particular office?
Chair, maybe coming. From what I've gathered is the internal auditors were not privy to this transaction because they were not done normally. They were not following the procedures required. Actually, what was being generated were just letters going to the bank without vouchers and other supporting documents. So the auditors were bypassed.
Chair, my point of order.
Vice Chair.
Is the CS in order not to answer the question put to them why they have left? The internal auditor who was there at that particular time. I didn't ask how these payments, who was involved, no. My question was, why has this particular auditor been left out? I would have loved to hear from them what role they played during this particular time. I need your statement.
Why have you come with the auditor who was not there during these transactions and you have opted to leave the one who was involved? CS.
Chair, it could be our lapse. Our thinking was, since the auditors were not privy to this transaction, if they had endorsed on any document, then it was going to be prudent for us to think that we bring them here. But they did not endorse on anything. It's the instructive letter going to the bank, which they were using to withdraw the money without other documentation. That would be a lapse on our part, Chair.
Chairperson, KAPIRI made the headlines. And if it made headlines, we're interested. When it came to us, we're very interested in this matter. Chairperson, I want us to move step by step. Firstly, I want to know, were these people accessing monies before it was banked? From your submission, there are letters. Who generated those letters? Was DF unable to view the account and see the movements of the monies on a daily basis as a controller of those accounts? Chairperson, I thank you.
Yeah, we want to hear from the DF. You do present financial statements, the bank statements, to see. At which point did you, maybe I put it this way, did it ring to you that there were payments, suspicious payments that were taking place because there were no vouchers, or vouchers were raised? And who was keeping the vouchers? The same revenue collectors? Want to hear from the DF, maybe the council secretary later. And you should note that we are interested in whatever is happening in all the councils. This is 796,000. The other question, you are saying that this was just from CDF 796. There were some monies in the sector account. Want to know, if there was money in the sector account, government sends money for other operations, were monies in the sector account also tampered with? And if so, how much? Why I have asked this particular question? This is just 700. Is it the same 4.6 million that was reported, that 4.6 million at KAPIRI Council vanished? Is it part of this?
Yes, Chair.
Okay. So on CDF it is 796.
You are right, Chair.
After they concluded with the over 3 million in the sector account.
Yes, Chair.
And the DF was there, he never raised any check to say monies are disappearing?
Thank you, Chair. It was quite a big syndicate. It was quite a cartel, Chair, that even DF and myself, we couldn't see it because they were preparing something outside the system. And once the bank transfer letters are done, the signatories were part of that and they were signing. After signing, the submission was done to the bank. What transpired, Chair, is that one payment was suspected at the bank. And when we were here in Lusaka, I remember it was the time of preparing for the last pack, we got a call from the bank trying to confirm with the DF and myself whether we had left a transaction to be paid of such amount, which the DF denied that we never gave any instruction. And from here in Lusaka, we gave an instruction to stop that payment at the bank. To the station, we began the investigation with the bank, with the government, and at the end of it, we had to report the matter to the police.
Tell us something. What is the standard? Does the DF check the accounts, the bank statements? And how frequent do you report to the CDF committee on the outstanding balances or this sector account? You don't report to the Finance and General Purpose Committee, you don't report to the council how much is sitting in your various accounts. Tell us, DF, what is the standard?
Thank you, Chair. The standard putting it, the DF is supposed to check regularly, but it looks like at the time of this happening, that was not done.
So how was Kapiri Council running? That you don't have reports? Because I think most of us have worked in local government. Every month there is especially one committee which is called Finance and Committee. They would report. Were these transactions done in 4.6 million, 796,000? Now, were these done in a flash of a second? Second question is that the people who are involved as Zambians, chairman of CDF committee, you just removed them from their portfolio, they got the money. Did you report these people to the police? Because this is a criminal matter.
Thank you so much, Chair. As to the report to Finance Committee, one of the officers who was involved is the one who was doing the bank reconciliation and therefore was giving a wrong picture of the reconciliation to Finance. He was
a revenue collector?
No, he was an accounts officer.
He is also suspended?
He is also suspended. He was also picked.
What actions to the CDF committee chairpersons?
To the CDF chairpersons, it was recommended that they be suspended from, removed, actually not suspended, but removed from the committee. We wrote to seek guidance from the ministry, and we were guided, and those two community members were removed from the community and have since been repressed. During the investigation, they were also interrogated and gave statement to the Law Enforcement Committee.
So was that a just action? Public resources, 4.6 million, they were sharing this money. The only thing you did is just to seek guidance from the minister, and the ministry said just remove them. Was that a just action? Looking at these public resources, hard-earned money by the government to give the people of Kapiri, to develop Kapiri. Kapiri is a vast constituency. Was that a just action?
No, Chair. As we are presenting, Chair, the matter is still active with the Law Enforcement Committee.
Vice Chair.
For the sector grant and the CDF accounts, apart from the TC, which other senior officers are signatory in the first panel for the local authority?
According to the of finance was that two officers should come from the local authority, and the other 3 officers should come from the devolved functions.
Those from the council are supposed to be which positions?
But Director Finance, we had Director Planning. On the devolved, the other one to make the third for on the accounting side, we had an accountant under Ministry of Agriculture. That completes the set. On the devolved function, we have the officer from and also agriculture.
Were they signing?
The way they were signing, it was being signed by the accountant from the agriculture, who was, and also the officers from the veterinary.
The question is very simple. Were they signing to these transactions?
Yes, Chair, they were signing.
What actions have been taken against these ailing officers from agriculture, or in short, from devolved functions?
They have also been suspended, and matter is still with the anti-corruption.
Okay, so that in your response, Office of the Auditor General available carried forward was 96,854 kwacha on page 8. During the period under review, you received funding of 1.5 million kwacha, bringing the total available funds to 2.1 million kwacha. This is administrative cost. You overspent by 1.1 million kwacha. You are saying the 700 could have been desuspected. What happened with the other expenditure? We remove 1.1. We remove, sorry, Chair. Yeah, even if you had this 796, but you overspent by 1.1 million kwacha. How did we arrive at this over expenditure on administrative cost when your available fund in the year was 2.1?
The other comment we shall seek. I just want one final clarification. All these transactions and instructions from the Ministry of Local Government, the parent ministry, does not make a responsible officer, in this case, town clerk or council secretary, to be a signatory to these accounts? Confirm?
No, Chair. As principal officers who are not supposed to be signatory, but to approve the payments.
So were these payments being approved?
Yeah.
Okay. The Vice Chairperson.
The over expenditure, the about is what the to capture, but we suspect that the investigation is over. This amount will definitely go to that. So the problem that we have, Chair, is that the documents that we are supposed to use to reconcile are with the investigative wings. So that has hampered our capacity to actually provide this House with the correct information. Once we secure the documentation, we should be able to handle properly.
Vice Chair, then.
You had a ceiling on administrative costs. The 500 came from 2023. 2024, you had 1.5, giving you a total to spend on administration, yet the 700 was stolen, because the cumulative figure eventually you over expended by 1.1, yet your budget on administration on CDF was 2.1.
You overspent beyond 2.1. You overspent by 1.1. How do you reconcile that? DF.
Thank you so much, Chair. The CS has indicated, no wonder we are saying this was part of the transactions which were not normally done through the normal processing channels, but the ones attributable to the fraud case, because these people were not following the procedures. They were just processing money for empowerment grants, they account. And then as you are processing, that's when you attribute to say, okay, this is admin cost, this is for projects, and this is for empowerment according to the request. But the people involved in the fraud case, they never had anything like that. They were just attacking the account directly. So you look at the nature of the
explanation from the now, those officers would have been routing. So now my question is, DF, you are the overall, and this is the question that I asked earlier on. You have a privilege of checking your account. The balances, the standings, almost every day. You couldn't detect that there's some movement in your account, and then be able to go down and check your departments. How are these figures moving from 5 million, maybe find is 4.5 or 4 million or 3 million? Doesn't that raise an alarm within you that there should be something happening? Because you are the final authority in terms of when the money should be withdrawn. You are the final person. Besides the, we have enough funds. Go ahead and there. So if they are to still be able to beat the system like that, they get worried as members of the public if you find in safe hands.
30, so many years for members, not you were in Indola. Another council. You are not here at Kapiri. Where is the DF was there? The DF is suspended?
Chair, the DF was there was transferred to Livingstone to those being investigated.
So he's working
for now. He's working for
now who caused all those problems. History, maybe I'm able to detect. I know most. How do you allow who was? Some of them have been suspended, but him is still working, actually promoted to assistant director in Livingstone. When he calls being fair to this commission, we want this person to be why we have taken time on this one. According to the standard, I don't know why. I'm hoping that the ministry is also taking lessons. You cannot exclude a responsible officer who is a council secretary or a town clerk for whatever reasons. All these things happen, the backstop the responsible officer. You exclude him account accounting for resources. Honorable Munda has said the director and you have rightly said, CS, that there could be more. So how are we moving? And it is a standard in this country. Take 10 years, they are getting half salary, investigative wings. Do you have a copy of the letter that you wrote to the investigative wings to give you details or documents? Maybe you have attached in this report as appendix. Because overspent by 0.1 reads that you wrote to the ACC institution to ask for information. But I want to ask Commission in our country. There is no one who has caused others are suspended. Honorable
Chairperson, a commission, somebody, you are promoting somebody based on deliberately to know the basis of promotion has left that mess in that council, has put the council into a mess. I'm just adding to what you're saying.
Yeah, we want to have the commission be appearing. This matter, we take it serious, and if they are listening or watching, they should take interest, because immediately this person should be also suspended. You cannot have, you are in the office, even promoted, then your friends are answering, they are outside, they are in their villages. So we take interest, because these are public funds. The president has given us, for the first time in the history of this country, enhanced CDF. This money should be accounted for to benefit the people of Kapiri, not to benefit individual officers. The last question on this one I wanted to ask: what is the standard with the bank in terms of letters of instructions? What is the standard? As long as the CDF committee chairperson and the signatory have signed, it is okay. Were these transactions audited? Okay, the auditor have said the auditor is suspended. Is he suspended or have left him?
Chair, we left the auditor, but these were not audited.
And the bank accepts unaudited instructions?
Chair, the auditor is not part of the person that the bank instruction. The instruction is given by the signatories. So the auditor aims at the voucher and checking all the other documents if the voucher is there. Then after the voucher is done, all the authorization is done, that's when an instructive letter is written. Previously, we could use a check. So that letter just acts as a check. Is now the signatories who attended to that instrument.
So the director planning was stamping it, and it goes, the money is released. I remember in the council there was a committee that was created called Audit Committee. Are they still existing?
Chair, that committee is still there. But
what
also
reports? Just hold your breath. What reports? What were being reported in the audit report committee, where you sit as council secretary, director finance, and the auditor is a key advisor? Didn't you notice anything that account, particular account, there were vouchers which were not being paid? Were vouchers being presented?
Chair, the way audit operates, they look at all aspects of council operation. So it could be the accounts, they target a particular account and try to investigate it, or it could be other operation, anything, they can report on anything. So depending on what they decide to look at, that's what they will give the internal audit committee, and that's what to the Control of Internal Audits, Ministry of Finance. So what I would the internal had investigated those accounts not. But I don't. But what I've told you, during the audit committees, you look at particular audited box files or payment vouchers given to councillors to sample. Am I right? So, you see that I recall. But what is the standard now? Is it deliberate that these vouchers were not being given to the councillors or to the committee? If they were not given, came to the committee that this particular account, vouchers were not being presented. Is it the standard now? You just take a report, a paper, without evidence to say the particular transactions in this account being reported to the audit committee before they go to the full council. That is a standard, and it won't. But if this is what is happening now, when you have diluted the standard, then it's quite unfortunate. All these questions we are asking you, they were meant to safeguard and bring integrity to the administration of resources in local government. Standard. Because if the audit committee was effective, if the finance committee, all these things could have been detected, and we could have saved these resources. So we are seen to be lecturing to you something that you know, but is not taken as a what? You are doing something wrong. And if it is what is being, we shall ask the Ministry of Government when they appear, we shall ask the Commission to revert back to the reasons why all these committees were put, and what reports and what documents appear. What I've told you is not something that is outside. Then we shall come to Honorable.
So, Chair, you had asked if the internal audit had picked these activities, and our witness who is responding was not there. I expected him to ask the one who was there to respond to this question. Then we make progress. I still insist that your question be answered, Chair.
Please, the former Secretary.
Thank you very much. The way the transaction were, first and foremost, I agree that there had no eye on these documents. Chair, there were no vouchers whatsoever which were processed in the system. Two documents, letters, which were just prepared. Hence, there was no time for auditor to have a look at that. The officers, like I said, it was a cartel. Only bank letters as 2 copies, written, signed by duly signature, leave the bank. 1 copy, 1 copy destroyed. At no time, Chair, that the process was followed for a voucher reach to the auditor, or where a voucher has been prepared, there must be a second person to check. There must be a part for authorization and also approve. No voucher was done. Only 2 leaves were prepared and to the bank. As long as bank signatories, and that's what was happening. So the auditor had no eye on it.
Earlier, I heard you to say these were caused by revenue collectors who were brought to sit in the payment of vouchers. Now you are saying there were no payment vouchers which were being prepared. Which is which?
The officers who were prepared in the normal...
Your microphone.
Sorry, Chair. The officers who were handling the payment voucher normal process, one of them is the one now who prepared those two without the vouchers. In a normal transaction, the voucher was prepared. But in those transactions, officer just prepared just those two papers. And some of those were even retrieved by the law enforcers from home.
That's why we as a committee were convinced that the Director of Finance was privy to these transactions. Because there's no way money coming out of their account. Because why reports are being prepared monthly or quarterly to these committees. And the reports that are being prepared to the Finance and General Payment Committee come with statements. The audit, they come with it. Now, there is no if could have been missing. Vice Chair.
Yes, give us some comfort and the people of Zambia. What measures have you put in place that such an occurrence would never occur, where procedures are not followed, but those with authority to write to the bank straight to pay out monies belonging to the people of Zambia and the people of Kapiri, which should have gone to the benefit of the people of Kapiri to provide a service? What measures have you put in management to their money, the people of Kapiri?
CS, former CS.
Thank you very much, Chair. I must to you, Chair, that DF who was there, he also called upon in the investigation, because which were assigned, like you have put it, those documents. To you, Chair, what measures you have put in place? Check the controls at the auditor in place, and we engage the commission. So we have now a higher position of an officer who actually was transferred from Choma at the position of the Chief Internal Auditor. And of course, financial redress, I think Director Administration had called for some meetings to walk through the condition of service, the Public Finance Act, also with the engagement of the officers. Like I've put it, Chair, that the Commission is aware about what was happening, and then requests were made that we need to enhance the capacity in the Finance Department, and therefore the Commission had to give us also a new Chief Internal Auditor who actually came in, the one which we have, Mr. Benson, Internal Auditor, who is there.
Thank you. We are agreeing, appreciating your position or explanation. It's not about being a chief or being an internal auditor. The functions and duties are very clear. You can have a chief internal auditor, but the same things will happen. And one thing that you have done, former CS, is to confirm to this committee that the former DF who was promoted now in Livingstone was actually party to this. So now this matter comes now to the commission. Why promote and transfer someone who is continuing getting a salary, who left big potholes in the accounts of the people of Kapiri? That should not be tolerated. Morally, we go ahead like this. So we shall demand that person is also suspended pending those investigations. Whoever was involved in these transactions should be followed. Chairpersons of the CDF committees, we don't want just them to be, we should set examples. In 2023, we had the council in charge where strange transactions were just happening. Christmas. 2 days before Christmas, 200 and something thousand by a former chairman and the DF. from CDF. Strange, you remember Honorable Murunda and Honorable Mitel? Those things were happening. So we should not, because there are people from facing the path of the law. These are public resources which should be accounted for the benefit of the people of Kapiri. To just on the same?
Yes, Chair. I take note of the response of the CS arrivals of the officers. We acknowledge the lapse in the internal controls institution. We've spoken to the controls at the bank side, because the controls here were being done, overlooked by senior officers. So if the bank has not been alerted, because the same thing would still happen. The town clerk is the authorizing officer. The signatories would still do the same. What measures have you undertaken on the other side to ensure that when such a letter to pay a supplier B and C should be duly authorized?
By how many people?
Give us comfort, because what you're alluding to here, for me, I would say you haven't done anything, because authorized signatories with a mind, a criminal mind, were doing this, and the bank was paying without the knowledge of you, the principal officer. So has anything been done to instruct the bank?
Maybe just
as regards full authorization by the principal officer?
To add on to what this important question, concern from the Vice, what measures have you put in place? And have you written to the Mother Ministry to seek for further guidance? If it is the ministry that gave you those guidelines, you have noticed that those guidelines have lapses. What measures have you suggested to the ministry that let the council secretary and other people also be part to the before the money is released from the bank? Have you done that?
Thank you very much for the question. Sir, we have, and actually the banks are quite very most of the evidence and information got. And what the measures we have put in place is that any payment that is going through the bank, they are now phoning back to confirm. Have you done this payment?
When there is no network,
it can't be paid.
What we want to hear from you, CS, these are serious matters. You have seen that we have dealt with these matters. It is a criminal matter, alarming. We want this to go to other councils. The guidelines given to you are that you only have 3 people and others from outside. Arising from this experience, what other people, especially the responsible officers, town clerks or council secretaries, what have you suggested to the ministry to include you to be part of those signatories before monies are released? Learning from this, because they are human, as the Vice said. The same people will continue. As are you suggesting? Our ministry, we need to help it. Are you suggesting something to them to say, because of this, we should allow also this to enhance the internal controls? I will allow Mitete to add, then Amulunda.
The chair rightly said, Mutelo is my name, your and a happy new year to you, chair, and all of us. It has been said that it was a cartel, a syndicate. Sir, whatever we are talking to him now goes to you, sir. Where is the chief internal auditor now? It goes to you and to the chief internal auditor. There is no way of operations will be taken or taking place without the knowledge of the top? No way. So that's the council you've gone on to. Whatever you were saying, we've taken these measures is no longer there. Maybe wherever you've gone also, you'll be taking those measures, isn't it? I should think your fingers are, you've learned, bent, the KAPIRI. So wherever you've gone, yes. No, so sir, and your team. I saw tells. I'm sorry, according to what is government tells and indicates, even in KAPIRI now they're still there.
For the council, you take note. You are a new person there. What has happened? Measures should be put in place. That's what Honorable Mtelo has said. This committee is speaking for this committee. Honorable Mulunda, then I'll come. It's a different one. Okay, let's have Mwene on this one.
No,
then okay, different one. Okay.
My question is page 11, Chair.
Let's go to page 11.
Seriously, page 11, where let me read the second paragraph, which is saying the delay of implementation of community projects arose due to non-response by bidders and some administrative hiccups experienced during the period under review. I wanted just to find out, Chair, why contractors what those problems with the bidders were. Also explain through you, Chair, what those administrative hiccups that they experienced were. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Just on the same, you have said that funds are being spent progressively. Audited the same funds on these community projects that have been mentioned by Honorable Mwene. The response there are spent progressively. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Being spent Chair, is that the projects are not implemented probably at the time we should have loved them to be implemented. But you can't spend as long as the project has not been implemented. Now, when we start implementing the projects, that's when now we are spending as well the funds.
Mwene?
The question, my investigation, the few days of interaction with my officers, because I had the same concern why we take too long. The issue of EGP was an issue. Some contractors were failing to use that system. We had a lot of because of the stuff that we had, we were delaying developing the BOQs. We didn't have the quantity surveyor. That's why we are recommending that we need the quantity surveyor so that we are producing quality BOQs. Then also we had tedious, remember Chair, this is the period when we had the tedious procurement processes before you amended the Procurement Act. So it was a combination of issues that led to this.
We just performing wonders. The same EGP, same. So what is the problem with the EGP in problem? Your is off, but if you look at the report for Shiyunji, no issues on specific projects, audit on specific projects, just cross-cutting issues. So the same EGP, the problem in some councils. How do you explain that? Okay, add one before you.
In addition to the EGP challenge, there is the contractors on how to go about EGP.
Thank you.
Chair, as we have responded after we realization that the contractors, the suppliers were having challenges, we had to organize for these trainings. That's how things started moving. But Chair, we are saying that time, we are not saying that's what it is now. The situation has changed.
Honorable Mitete.
So, thank you, Chair. The situation has changed. So how has it changed? What is obtaining on the ground now? 7 outstanding community projects. Although you've again said in 2025 the EGP worked well. So what is the current situation? Where is the procurement officer? Were you there? Okay. I would have liked to hear from the procurement officer as well.
Correct. Let's give chance to the procurement officer to explain what has changed, what was the problem. Procurement officer.
Okay, thank you, Chair. By the time I came in, 2024, somewhere between May, June there, we had not started the project. We responses. Then we contacted ZPPA that sent it, and we called for contractors, and after that we started getting responses, and we
what I know, switch off your. I want you to agree or deny this fact. We have been guided by the Minister of Local Government and the Minister of Finance that projects for the ensuing year should be approved by November. Immediately, Minister of Finance announces the budget and you know what is sitting in the CDF account. You are supposed to approve before December of that year. Correct?
Yes, Chair. In fact,
no, I just wanted to get to, I'm coming to you, you will respond. If that was the case, I wanted to find out from procurement or the council secretary. April to start looking at these projects when they were supposed to be approved before December. I'll give you my example of my council. Right now we are just about to post on Egypt. We approved before. And these are directives that come from the Ministry of Local Government and the Ministry of Finance. Was this the case in Kapiri? Or maybe you are running a different system? Why did it take up to April of 2024 for you to start looking at these projects?
Chair, at times we just have to be honest. The CDF guidelines actually guides us. The first quarter, for instance, of this year, that's when we are supposed to advertise. Then people respond. And before we prepare the budget, we should have secured all the approvals that are required.
Correct.
Then, as we are preparing the budget, these projects are included in the budget because they are part of council budget. But we should admit that there has been that breach by most of local authorities, not just one local authority, but most of local authorities. I think we need, that's why in our response we are saying if we just adhere to CDF guidelines, it will resolve a lot of issues.
Who is supposed to tell you to adhere to the CDF guidelines? The guidelines have been given to you by local government and the Ministry of Finance. Let me
through you, sir. Please go and adhere.
It's not a laughing matter.
It's not.
These are serious matters.
It's coming from the witness himself. So please go and adhere.
Do you have a planner here?
So that such lapses, planner, are avoided. You've heard who now should be telling you? Maybe PLGO.
No, he has already given guidelines.
Maybe refresher courses. Maybe coming back to Nipa or Chalimbana.
No, sir.
There's a word that you know it all. You are veterans. Just to do what you are supposed to do.
Honorable Mulunda?
Not just to add on what you're saying. So the witness is telling us that if at all the local authorities were adhering to the guidelines, we wouldn't have been sitting, isn't it? So when they adhere, then you will not sit.
Me, I'll ask a question. Progressively spent the money. Comfort us. How much remains unspent from 2024 on community projects? Both 2023. Good situation. Releasing money in our council accounts. You have to contract a project. The contractor has to work and claim the money. Completely opposite. And those who are good at not adhering to the guidelines, it simply means the communities will not benefit from the enhanced CDF. So, where are we?
How much progressively?
How much have we spent progressively in Kapiri 2023 and 2024? Where are we?
CS, or former CS. 7 projects.
Thank you very much, Chair. The project beginning 2022, 2023, and 2024. Chair, it is on record that 2022-2023 performance was bad for Kapiri. Where it is sitting now, we may not have the records here, but we can submit through the Secretariat. The performance has improved. We have handed over all the 90% of 2024-2023 projects for 2024. In terms of the progressive funds, money's chair, like it has been put, we are paying as and when the IPCs are done. We get claims from the ministry now. So progressively, because we can't pay for projects that have not completed in advance. Not until a project is finished, then we claim the money. And we
Okay, we are done on this one. Okay.
Okay. Director of Works?
Director Engineering.
Okay, Director Engineering. Out of the 7 projects, what is the current situation? How many, where are we? Because here it says outstanding. Are they still, how many? Have we done anything? You wouldn't know. Yes. You wouldn't know. You have the answers, eh? If you have the answers, don't go back with them. He will not come to you to come, oh, now go outside and say, no, of course the answers are here. Yes, what's that paper saying?
Those 7 projects, where are we? Have they, these are 2024, mind you? Yes?
Thank you so much, Chair. So on the 2024 CDF community projects, there is a table that was shared, which is written 2024 community projects. That is the status on where we are now as
we handed over. Just confirm.
Not all of them, Chair. Are still works in progress.
Why? This is 2026. The project period. Months. So if it is a 2024, the whole 2025 has lapsed. So what is the comfort that you come here and say they're still work in progress when these projects were supposed to benefit? Now, so you have just told us that some of them are still working in progress. And it was magnanimous to follow the guidelines. All these problems will not be there. And confirming that we have councils who are not following guidelines. No wonder they are frustrating CDF. Don't you know that you are frustrating development? This is the basis for your assessment, appraisal, for you to be promoted. But we see you promoted even when you have left problems. Another guy is in Livingstone now for having caused problems in Kapiri. So, our council secretary, you are now there. You seasoned council secretary Amambarakata. When you were in Nyimba was the best. Wherever you have gone, can you help us correct there? Take interest in the accounts. How people that goes to the bank should be going through your office. Even if the guidelines will not allow you to sign, take interest. So, this is a serious concern. There is another delayed implementation of community projects. There is no pictorial evidence. And delivered desks, 1,136, something, 1,100 desks undelivered. As at December 2024, people are still sitting on the floor. The presidential directive, procure desks, monies are given to you, 1,000 desks not delivered. And there is a need for those desks. So if we are doing this, our we helping our country? It comes to what you have said, that if you were to follow guidelines, all these are. So we need to enhance the monitoring of councils by the provincial local government officers. Because if the provincial local government officers are effective in the supervision of councils, all these problems cannot be there. It doesn't need to take the PS at local government. He is at the center here. It doesn't need to take the minister of local government. It is the PLGOs, provincial local government officers. Each council, even for them, if they don't see any reports from a particular council, they are supposed to raise a flag. You haven't submitted your what for 2026. Why are you delaying? Because there are timelines. So we shall talk to the Local Government Service Commission. We shall talk to the ministry when they come to appear here. These issues have been raised. The other issue that was raised, or which raised concern, is you said various on page 21, unaccounted for stores. What various table there? Unaccounted for stores, meaning the internal audit is weak. Was a problem. You fail to account for these stores. What are these stores? And you have said various. You are telling this committee, no, what? The desks on the various, what are these? Because Kapiri now is a hotspot for theft or fraud. So when you say various, it could be part of the 796.
Chair, there are many transactions involved away from the desks, but lumped as various. Now, the challenge that we have is the documents that are supposed to inform us are with the law enforcing agencies. Documents we can itemize, we are able to break down this.
Vice Chair?
Again, I'll ask the question because you don't have this documentation. Town clerk, have we to ensure that all payments being made are properly acquitted, or withdrawals being done have the proper documentation? What have you put in place to ensure that this question does not arise? Because if you look at it, the value there is slightly 688,000, which is a lot of money being unaccounted for. So yes, the documentation has been seized and under investigation. What measures have we put in place? And what disciplinary action have you undertaken to the affected officers? Because you can't go and withdraw fuel without a voucher. Somebody gets money without you have the conditions of service in place. Already you were alluding to the fact again of following CDF guidelines. Why are officers neglecting to follow the conditions of service? The supervisors, why aren't they charging those who are misbehaving? What measures have you put in place to ensure that everything is being accounted for?
Your mic, Vice.
Chair, the unaccounted for materials, the way we account for material, we provide evidence to the auditor. whatever we procured, we provide evidence to the auditor how we have used this, how we have disposed this. Now the challenge that we have is the evidence has been seized by the law enforcing. So for now, it's very difficult to know whether we can account for this or not. And we will see if we are able to provide the evidence to the auditor, then we'll have accounted. If we fail, then we fail to account for this because we are not indicating how we have used them. The main in place is the supply chain as checks within itself. If you follow it strictly, then it provides checks. So we need to strengthen the internal controls to ensure that we are checking even the supply chain system. All the systems in the council are supposed to be checked whether they are operating the way they are supposed to operate. So we need the auditors to be very, very proactive, check if finance is doing what they are supposed to be doing. Yes, fraudulent activities can occur, but we should be able to detect it within a short period. That's why for us, when it comes to reconciling, statement directed from the bank itself to manipulate the ones that we download and we that. But for an account stores, the internal audit is just regularly supposed to check whether the materials that have come in have been used to the intended purpose. Evidence must be there. If there is no evidence, we hold accountable to the stores. Because once procurement stores is supposed to account for each and every material that has been procured. Auditors used to do spot. Auditors will ask, have the books, what is happening. But now you depend on the post audit. What has gone wrong? Even the pre-audits do not take place. Even spot audits do take place. The auditor will be to bring the accounts for auditing. What has gone wrong? The auditor was the most feared person during our times, because the auditor can check on you anytime. They would even ask, bring your accountable documents, I want to check. You who are dealing with these, they would check vouchers, they would check these. But now, things seem to be going somewhere. Mr. Kazinga, can we, the huge sums of money, am I lying, Mr. Mambanagata? To now, why should you rely on just the post audit? Monies have been stolen, then when you do the post audit, and most it's done when you know that the external auditors are coming. So something that works for us, we should continue it. We don't from common things for the council section and the government. If you see even the social lives of certain officers who are dealing with the public, dealing with the resources, you're able to check in how is that person. That's how the auditor operates. During those days, and the councils had the credibility, but nowadays, more money, more problems. These are public resources. So the take that I give to you, I want the nation to know and the people of Kapiri. Number one, there are weaknesses in the governance
and financial areas. Governance in the sense that you are not checking as the chief officers what is happening to your subordinates. So anyone who reports for work is able to do whatever they want to do. The financial issues is what we have highlighted, 796 just for CDF, but in total 4.6 million, including the sector account. This is alarming. Then we have fraudulent transactions and missing documents. The one I'm talking about, 796, 341, and the other things. Fraud taking place. It takes long for you to detect. It takes the bank. Had the bank not noticed this, they were going to continue for 2 years getting money and depleting the entire CDF. So there is a weakness in the governance and the financial systems in the council. So Director of Finance, this is a wake-up call. You know those days what used to happen. You do attribute, I've just given an example to that council secretary. Wherever you leave a mark. But some of you, where you go, there's nothing tangible that anyone can see that there was this internal auditor, there was this procurement officer. Things were going very well, like Shibuyunji. So when you look at the officers at Shibuyunji and you look at yourselves, evaluate yourselves. Fraud taking place, it has to take the bank. Why? You don't need to be rigid. If the minister has told you that you can't be, you internally you put your system so that you are able as a council secretary, even if you don't sign, no instruction should go to the bank without the council secretary, without the director of finance and other people. You put internal things. And hence on what the Ministry of Law Government has guided you, these things could have been stopped. But the ministry will be coming, we want to see to it, the executive officers of secretaries and town clerks should have a say, because today having things that you are not even a part to. So we must. The other issue, irregular bursary payments. You take bursaries to non-public institutions, and yet the guidelines from the ministry are very clear. These guidelines are not known to the council secretary who is now there. You council secretary who is there, these guidelines have been there. The planner should first check, and you overspent on administrative component. Monitoring is the other council. But you have administrative component to check. Where are we taking our children? Are these institutions guidelines from the Ministry of Law Government? So all these are weaknesses at KAPIRI Council. The other is the poor procurement outcomes. Procurements fail in KAPIRI, which is a seat along the road, and you have so many people who are contractors. If you have sensitized the contractors, the local contractors, they can't fail. In the bush there, Shibuyunji, they are doing it. So this reason of saying take note and improve in these areas. Do not allow us under you. Check whether it's internal auditor, assistant auditor, they should be reporting to check what they are doing, work plans, whatever they are doing. When they weekly workshops, reading CDF projects. As there's a workshop somewhere you go. So you should strengthen internal controls, compliance with guidelines, improved procurement planning, budget discipline, robust loan management. Loan, failing to collect loans which people got. The Minister of Local Government has emphasized, the Ministry has emphasized, everyone has emphasized that people should repay the loans. But you officers are failing. So when you are praising the DPO, if he is failing to enforce, not that is an issue. Each officer is supposed to be appraised according to what they are doing. If they are failing, don't. And the commission should ensure that promotion or anything should follow what these officers are doing. So with that said, I would like to say this report is a bad report. We are happy that the law enforcement agencies are following these matters. From this meeting to visit that director of finance so that he can also set aside, so that we set a tone for the country. Fear for public resources. These are Zambian people's resources. The president has just come to say, I want to develop all corners of this country, KAPIRI included. Here is the money. Then you have officers who are indulging themselves at the expense of the poor people of KAPIRI, and then you promote them. That should not be allowed. We shall protest as a committee. Whoever was involved in this transaction should face the wrath of the law. Who was appending their signatures to these transactions? How I wished when they are promoting, they should be asking some of us. Because one of those officers who is KAPIRI, I can even tell you where she came from. What happened. So this is a story for another day. We know them. You transfer this officer to another council problems. Take them off the system. Let them go to the streets. So this report, we are in this report. You are new. You former council secretary now. When we went to KAPIRI, there were those problems already there. Please leave a mark. All of you as officers, do your best. Procurement. There's no excuse. You are employed to do procurements. It's an issue for you if these projects are not being procured. KAPIRI is a vast council. People should see this development. So with that said, I would like to withdraw the immunity that was earlier conferred on you. Take note of the guidance from this committee. As you go back, go and do the best. The immunity is withdrawn, and wish you well as you return to your destination, to your councils. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Well, thank you so much for being with us on Parliament Television. That was a committee on local government accounts interacting with KAPIRI MPONSHI Town Council there. And KAPIRI MPONSHI was led by Mr. Timothy Mambalakata, who is KAPIRI MPONSHI Secretary, Council Secretary there. I just want to remember the Committee on Local Government Accounts continue considering the report of the Auditor General on the Constituency Development Fund for the financial year ended 31st December 2024. And early on, we had two. We also had the Council Secretary from Shibuyunji Town Council. We'll be back tomorrow at 9:30 as the committee continue interacting with other local authorities. Remember, they need to interact with about 16 local authorities and scrutinize on the Constituency Development Fund for the financial year ended 31st December 2024. So tomorrow, which will be Wednesday the 28th, we expect the Town Clerk from Kabwe Municipal Council. We also expect the Council Secretary, Serenje Town Council, and later in the day, Chitambo will appear before this committee. Remember, they are considering the report of the Auditor General on the Constituency Development Fund for the financial year ended 31st December 2024. for. My name is Paul Sentindovi. On behalf of my two sign language interpreters, that's Jason Manda Chola Kauma. I'll be back tomorrow at 8 hours as we open. The committee reconvenes at 9:30.